Good evening. I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission for the City of Sebastian, Thursday, June 15th, 2023. We'll begin our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are you doing the roll call as well?
Yes, I have double hats tonight, I'm sorry. Ms. Matthews? Present. Ms. Cottenberg?
Here.
Mr. Haddix?
Here.
Ms. Battles has not arrived yet, or Ms. Kitchen, and Ms. Giese? And 4 is a quorum. We can continue the meeting with 4. 4 members is a quorum, so we can continue the meeting with the members we have present.
4.
4 members is a quorum,
Okay,
so we
thank
can
you.
continue the meeting, yes.
All right, thank you. The announcements for tonight are that at last night's City Council meeting, Ms. Matthews was moved to a position as a regular member to fill Mr. Lucier's position, and Mr. Christopher Roberts was appointed our new alternate member, and he will join us at our next meeting. We welcome him, and congratulations, Sherry. Commissioners Carter and LaRusso are excused from tonight's meeting, and our alternate member, Ms. Giese, will be voting. Thank you. Okay, you have all had the opportunity, I believe, to go over the minutes from our last meeting. If anyone has any additions or corrections, now's the time. Otherwise, we'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the regular meeting, May 4th, 2023.
Okay.
I second that motion.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed?
I was not present, so I can't vote on the minutes.
Okay.
But no, Ms. Giese, you'll vote.
Yeah.
Even though I wasn't here. Okay, aye.
Thank you. Okay. We have no quasi-judicial. We have no unfinished business. We will now take some public input, if anyone would care to. Anybody in our audience, bring to our attention anything that is not on the agenda. Is anyone on Zoom?
Nobody has raised their hand.
Thank you. New business. The accessory structure review, LDC section 54-2-7.5 for 297 Joy Haven Drive, a 700 square foot detached carport. Are the owners here to present? Okay, please come up and tell us what you'd like to tell us about this.
Well, would like to put a carport up for my RV. That's what I would like to do, and it's
Okay, and just say your name for our record,
sure.
please.
It's James Tracy McCullough.
Okay. And this is to be a carport.
Yes, ma'am. It's a carport.
All right.
It's for my RV to go underneath,
Yeah.
protect my RV from the weather.
Okay. Anybody here have any questions about it? Yep.
Well, Ms. Cottenberg, could staff give an input? We'll go over our staff report, okay, before there's any questions?
Before we do the questions?
Yes, that's usually our
Okay,
process.
thank you.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay. So you have before your staff report, and to verify, Mr. McCullough is doing he'd like to construct a 700 square foot prefab carport. So working with Mr. McCullough, we verified that it would not be in a rear setback. It does meet all the requirements for the setback. They own 3 lots. What you have on your survey is just showing the 2 lots, though, that was applicable. Even with the 3 lots, the maximum size that the homeowner can have based on our code is 5% or 1,000 square feet. Mr. McCullough, they have they have an existing shed, and based on this, then they will be at 988 maximum for accessory structure that they will have for their property. It is a prefab metal carport. The roof does have a metal roof on it, so the roofing materials will match. The sides are coming down, are going to be metal, but I know staff drove by and worked with the homeowner on matching colors for those sides that come down.
It's gonna be white.
Yeah, be white, yes.
Which my house is actually alabaster, so it will match.
The only thing I wanted to also share with our staff report, just to clarify, so it is part of the record, the survey, our staff did verify that they are proposing a 50-foot setback, front setback. Then based on the size of it, it'll be 40 feet in the back, not 50 feet that is marked, that we caught on the survey. So we will change that in the building permit, so when they go do a final inspection, that the inspector will have the right setbacks. I don't know if you caught that too, Mr. McCullough, but it'll be 40 feet in the back. So with that, staff is open to your review and questions and your determination to approve or not approve the carport.
Thank you. Mr. Hatter?
So my first question was the setbacks, because I did see that. And then my next question is, I don't see where it talks about tie downs. The city won't permit that without it being tied down, is that correct?
They actually use the same anchors that the mobile home actually uses.
Right.
To actually tie it down.
They're like 48 inches or something like that,
I
and it
don't
gets
know what
strapped
the
down?
exact spec is. I'm happy to actually get,
Yep. So what we gave you, the information was what, for the zoning part of the review.
Okay.
There is some additional pages of this permit application that is more structural for the building permit, and that,
Okay.
the building department, and they will be reviewing that, and won't issue it unless it meets the wind load that they require.
I gotcha.
I
Okay.
also want you to know too, that I'm a general contractor, and
Yeah.
I will actually add additional, and I will actually strap it down too.
That's
So
perfect.
I considered putting it on concrete, but I
Yeah.
chose not to.
Gotcha.
Just for various reasons, I wanted the water to drain through too, but I'll actually add more. I'll actually put additional anchors in, so just for my own peace of mind, so.
That's my concern, is just everything we put out's a projectile.
Yeah, and I am from North Carolina, so I'm actually working with Carolina Carports. They're a very well-known company. I'm not using someone that's not a quality company. I know Boyd Brickley, actually the gentleman that I'm buying it, I actually know him.
Gotcha.
So we had a long conversation. I talked with Dan about adding additional hi-hats up top for additional structure, so I've had conversations to make sure, but we haven't had any issues with that, so
Okay,
so.
I gotcha. Those were my questions, those are my major concerns.
Thank you. Sherry?
I have no questions. They've been answered. Thank you.
Okay.
I think staff did a wonderful job on this, and I appreciate all their work, and I have no questions either.
I, of course, have questions. I noticed on the plan that it doesn't say anything about a closure on the front of the building. Is that going to be an open shed?
Yes, ma'am, it will be. I have actually worked to make sure that we are gonna put a gable on the back for structural support so that it actually is stronger, but it's only gonna be on the back is what it's gonna be. The front will actually be open. So, and when I say the back, I just mean the top part, like the top 3 feet. It's just a gable. It's not coming down. It's not a wall or anything else.
That was
It's
my
only
next-
for structure, yes, ma'am, to make it stronger.
That
If
was
you
my-
leave it open, it's not as strong as if you close the back, so that's the reason why I'm
And
doing
if you
that.
close it too much and leave it open in the front, it becomes a balloon.
Well, actually, one reason why I'm also only coming down is because of the air goes through it. So if it's not all the way to the ground, actually, the air does work better going through it, so.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
That's my only question. And I noted that you are acting as an owner-builder, but you are an experienced builder, and you understand that you have to meet all the same codes that any builder would.
Yes, ma'am. I will make sure it does that actually and more. I'm not gonna install it myself, though. Carolina Carports do have installation crews, and they will be installing it.
But you will be supervising them?
100%. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am,
All
100%.
right, got it. Got it. Okay, the chair will entertain a motion.
I would like to make a motion to go ahead with the, excuse me, to go ahead with the accessory structure at 297 Joy Haven Drive as it's been submitted.
I'll second.
Okay, motion is made and seconded to approve the structure. Voice vote, please.
Ms. Cottenberg?
Yes?
Mr. Hedix?
Yes.
Excuse me. Ms. Geezy?
Yes.
And Ms. Matthews?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Easy
Thank you very
breezy.
much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Any commissioners' matters? And I have none as well. And we have any matters from the staff?
Not any, thank you for coming for a very short meeting. We had to schedule this. We hate to hold up our residents to wait for another meeting. But we just finished a review this week. We will have a conceptual PUD coming before you. I don't know if it's going to be the next meeting, but based on our advertising, the River Oaks project on 510. We also have, based on the Graves Brother annexation, there was an amendment to the comprehensive plan. And Lisa's working on that for the revision to the revised sheet that you can put in for your comprehensive plan. So you'll get a part of that. Part of that annexation agreement included some amendments to our site, for some site-specific requirements for the Graves annexation. But we'll have that for you too. So we do have, our board is busy again, our queue line. So as you know, we try and get these out and get them so that they're ready so we can bring these projects to you. We are working on a few site plans, but I think this summer we'll have a few of these, more of these projects coming before you. They're coming to fruition, at least in meeting code, and then bring them before you for your review and final decision on them. But I think the River Oaks conceptual PUD will be the next item that we bring before you.
Okay. Thank you. And I did have a matter, I forgot about it though, that when you mentioned that, it brought it up to me at the council meeting. It was mentioned, and I think it might be a good idea to consider adding something, if we can, to RM10, which would indicate that a certain percentage of an RM10, when we're changing it, needs to provide some affordable housing or obtainable housing. I don't know if we're even allowed to do that. It might be if you would maybe.
Sure. So I know we set up the zoning. Remember, the land use was updated in the comp plan where we establish the medium density is now 10 units. You can get up to 12 units with incentives. And staff has not brought that incentive, that ordinance back to you because it has been really hard for us to, and we're working through it with consultants, and all of the municipalities are having these issues. But how to establish that affordable housing, who takes care of it? We, usually would be through deed restrictions and all, but is that the HOA is taking care of that? Does the city have to have a staff that is going to have to monitor that affordable housing to make sure it maintains, stay in affordable housing? And now we have this new layer of what the House bill, the Florida, Tallahassee bill has. So there are consultants, the American Planning Agency, the Florida chapter, the Florida League of Cities, everybody is reviewing this affordable housing bill, and they are going to be sending out some guidance to the cities on what we may need to do, or if we want to adjust our ordinances to cover that. But we are coming up with, we would have to change, I don't know if we would have to change it in the RM10, but we certainly were trying to work with it for our incentives to say, if you have this amount of, we were breaking it up into, if you did this and this, where you added, I'm throwing these out as examples, EV chargers, if you went above and beyond the recreation requirement, different incentives that say, okay, now instead of the 10 units per acre, you can get the 11 units per acre. And then if you added 30% of your units, a minimum 30% of your units were affordable, the incentive was to get you then to the 12 units. But again, there was just, it's hard to get it into that, to make it legal, how to do it, how to maintain it. A lot of them would be for 10 years. After 10 years, then you didn't have to keep them as affordable housing. But that's why we haven't brought this back to you. But we certainly are aware that our comp plan allows the land use, not the zoning, but the land use, and that establishes the density, that you can have up to 12 units with incentives. But we're still working on that. And now with the House bill, the bill that the governor signed, is another layer that we have to consider if we're going to put a formal ordinance into our code book.
Thank you. I'm glad to hear that. And I should have known that it's been working on, but I look forward to discussions and thank you. Now I am truly finished, and that means our meeting is adjourned. Thank you.